Have you ever noticed that a rainbow doesn't always show up on a perfect day? Most of the time, a rainbow appears after rain, after dark clouds, after the sky has been heavy, after the air has been unsettled. It comes when the storm has already passed through, or when the storm is finally breaking. And I think that matters. Because the rainbow was never meant to be just a pretty thing in the sky. It was never only decoration. It was never only color. It was never a reminder. It was never meant to be owned by an agenda. In Scripture, the rainbow first appeared as a sign of covenant. After the flood, after judgment, after loss, after the world had been washed clean and Noah stepped into the changed earth, God placed the rainbow in the clouds and connected it to a promise. Not a vague feeling, not a passing mood, a promise. God was saying, in effect, when you see this, remember me. Remember that I am still here. Remember I have not forgotten mercy. Remember that destruction does not get the final word. And that, my friends, is the real reason for rainbows. They remind us that God can put beauty above what once frightened us. Think about that. The clouds that carried the storm become the background for the promise. The same sky that looked dark becomes the place where color appears. The place that made you nervous becomes the place where God says, look again. And maybe somebody needs that today. Maybe you have been through a storm that changed how you see everything. Maybe it was grief. Maybe betrayal. Maybe it was a season of fear, anxiety, disappointment, financial pressure, family tension, loneliness, or spiritual exhaustion. Maybe you're still trying to smile in public today while privately wondering how much more your heart can take. And when people say, just have faith, now that can feel too simple, can't it? Because you do have faith. You are still praying. You are still trying. You're still getting up. You are still choosing not to quit. But that does not mean the storm did not hurt. And the rainbow, well, it does not deny the rain. That is one of the most powerful things about it. A rainbow does not pretend the clouds were never there. It does not erase the thunder. It does not shame you for being afraid while the sky was dark. It simply appears afterward and says, God was still present, even here. And faith is not pretending life never gets hard. Faith is learning to see God's promise when life has been hard. And some of us are waiting for God to prove his love by preventing every storm. But sometimes his love is revealed by keeping us through the storm, meeting us after the storm, and teaching us that the storm was not strong enough to cancel his covenant. The rainbow is not a sign that life will never rain again. It's a sign that God's mercy is greater than what the rain can destroy. And that matters because storms can be messy and they can mess with your memory. Pain can make you forget that God has already done great things for you. Fear can make yesterday's blessing feel far away. Anxiety can make tomorrow look impossible. Disappointment can make you question whether God is still good. So God gives us a reminder. He gives reminders because he knows we are human. He knows we forget when we are tired. He knows we can be surrounded by evidence of his faithfulness and still feel alone. He knows how quickly one hard season can make us doubt 10 answered prayers. So he puts signs in ordinary places: a sunrise, a kind word, a door that opens, a song that touches your heart, a scripture that finds you in the exact right moment, a quiet strength you did not think you had, and a rainbow in the sky after rain. Not because God needs to remember his promise, but because we do. When God set the rainbow in the clouds, he was not saying, I might forget unless I see this. God does not forget. He was giving humanity something visible to hold on to. He was placing mercy where people could see it. That's how kind our God is. He knows we need more than concepts sometimes. We need reminders we can look at. And here's what I love: the rainbow is above us. You cannot grab it. You cannot control it. You cannot manufacture it with your own hands. You can only receive it, just like God's grace. And grace is not something you build. Grace is something God gives. Mercy is not something you earn by being impressive. Mercy flows from the heart of God. The promise does not depend on your ability to hold the sky together. The promise depends on the one who made the sky. So, when you see a rainbow, do not just think about colors. Think about covenant. When you see a rainbow, think about a God who speaks after the storm. When you see a rainbow, think about a God who does not abandon creation to chaos. When you see a rainbow, think about a God who can take what looked ruined and begin again. Think about a God who knows how to place beauty where fear used to be. And then bring that truth down into your own life. That relationship that broke your heart, well, it does not get the final word. That season of depression does not get the final word. The failure you think about does not get the final word. That mistake you wish you could undo does not get the final word. That fear that wakes you up at night does not get the final word. God does. And his final word is not despair. His final word is not abandonment. His final word is not shame. His final word is mercy, restoration, resurrection, and promise. The rainbow points forward too, because every promise of God finds its deepest meaning in Jesus. And Jesus stepped into the storm of human sin, sorrow, violence, and death. He carried what we could not carry. He entered the darkness we could not defeat. On the cross, it looked like the sky had gone black. It looked like hope had been swallowed. It looked like the storm had won. But the resurrection, it tells us the truth. The storm did not win. Death did not win. Sin did not win. Shame did not win. Jesus rose, and because he rose, every storm in your life has to answer to a greater promise. That does not mean every wound heals overnight. It does not mean every question gets answered immediately. It does not mean you will never cry again. But it means You are not living under an empty sky. You are living under the promise of a faithful God. So maybe next time you see a rainbow, pause for a moment. Do not rush past it, and do not reduce it to something small or some person's agenda. Let it preach to you. Let it say, God still keeps his promises. Let it say, the storm is not the whole story. Let it say there is mercy above the clouds. Let it say that you are still held. And maybe even before you see one in the sky, believe the message of it in your heart. God has not forgotten you. He's given you a rainbow. The rain may have been real, but so is the promise. The clouds may have been heavy, but so is his mercy. The storm may have left marks, but it did not erase his love. That is the real reason for rainbows. They are not just beautiful, they are faithful. They are reminders from God that after the storm, his promise still stands. My name is Douglas Vandergraph, and I believe in Jesus Christ. I also believe in the real reason for rainbows. God bless every single one of you.